So we throw a dog into the mix. Well, everybody loves dogs. And petting the dog and looking at the book, and petting the dog and trying to read the book. And petting the dog lowers the blood pressure, lowers the anxiety, lowers the stress level. And dogs make great listeners, and they're non-judgmental. And they don't care if you mispronounce words, and they don't care if you have language issues. They're just happy to be with you. And so a couple of things happen. It raises the child's self-esteem. And so now that the child's self-esteem has been raised, things that were insurmountable can now be attained. And so we read one word, we read 2 words, we read 3 words. And Molly is a wonderful listener, and we're reading whole pages. And in the weeks to come, we're reading entire books. And it's been proven that children's language skills have improved tremendously, and their reading skills have improved tremendously. We work in 2 different venues. We work in schools and we work in libraries. When we're working in libraries, it's first come, first serve. Any child that wants to sit down and read with a dog is more than welcome. And in a school situation, these children are selected because of the issues that they might have. And so in the library, it's considered animal-assisted activity, whereas in the school, it's therapy. And you have goals, and you're documenting the work that you're doing with the child. But it has been proven that this... My favorite story was a little boy we worked with. He had no reading problems at all. He read beautifully. And I couldn't understand why in the world he was one of the 6 children I was working with. Beautiful reader. And then I found out from the teacher that his problem was that in the 4th grade he suffered from severe depression. How does a child suffer from severe depression? And he was bullied and not popular and overweight and just had a myriad of problems. And he began working with my golden retriever Eli. And week after week he became more demonstrative and telling us things about his life and reading books and having fun. So one afternoon he said that there was going to be the opportunity for him to have show and tell. He'd never done this before. And would I come to class with him for his show and tell? And so if you could imagine a little boy who couldn't hold his head up, he was bullied, severely depressed, had all these horrible issues, and he stood at the front of the class and said, "You probably wonder where I go on Thursday afternoons." Well, I go to read to Eli. Oh, and by the way, Eli had a beautiful necklace on for the occasion. He had selected a necklace for Eli of green beads to match his green jacket. And he said, I go to read to Eli, and we have a great time. And he said, Eli is a golden retriever. And of course I was there but doing nothing but holding onto the leash. That was my only job. And he pulled out a series of index cards and began to tell the entire class all about golden retrievers. And he orchestrated the entire event and said one by one they would be allowed to come up and pet Eli. And of course he's in charge. He's the one that's calling the shots here. And the kids came up to pet Eli, and he explained how you must ask permission and pet gently. And then if the children were lingering, he would say to the kids that have previously been bullying him, "That's enough, move on to the next child, please." And reminding everybody to get back in their seats and be quiet. And it was just so wonderful to see the transformation with this little boy. And here was a child that had been so uncommunicative and not enjoying his life at all. And life was basically a big pain in the you-know-what to a little boy that had taken charge and had found a friend. So that was my favorite read story. So it does not necessarily have to be about reading the actual words. Sometimes it's how we feel. Sometimes it's how we think of ourselves when we're with other people. And sometimes the dog brings us up to a place where we can deal with life. And it made a big difference in one boy's life. So, if you're ever interested in hopping on board with us, we need more pet partner teams. We're always looking for more people to help.
And we have literature that people can
Yep, we have these, and then we also had some wonderful books that we gave away to children. We still have quite a few of them. It's The Great Dog Wash, and it was also written in Spanish.